a lot of notoriety because of my dad dying 9/11, and I have a voice. This is the right thing to do. Whether I ever talk to this man again or never cross paths with him again.
Welcome to More Than an Inmate's Girlfriend. I'm your host, Jay, and we are meeting Frankie today. I'm so excited. I love Frankie. There's a lot of reasons why I love her. We connected on social media quite a while ago, and I'm so excited to introduce you to her and to have her on this platform with us. And one of the biggest reasons why is Frankie and I have not always seen eye to eye on different things, but we always come back in a respectful way and speak to each other respectfully and learn from each other. And we just have developed a very good friendship that's very healthy and productive. And I think that if you are only friends with people that completely agree with you 100% of the time, that's not a true friendship. But being able to learn from each other and grow from each other and expand your knowledge and your understanding, that's where things are important, right? That's the kind of people that you want to be surrounded by. Frankie's one of those people that I honestly feel like I will always get the truth from her and what she truly believes in. Her moral compass is so strong, and she will go into details on the different reasons of why she does what she does and how that came to be. But regardless, she don't play when it comes to what's right is right. And that she doesn't take what's right at face value, if that makes sense. So just because in the world something is deemed as the right choice or whatever, that doesn't mean that Frankie accepts it as the right choice. She's not afraid to go beyond and think about it and learn about it and then make that decision. I've learned a lot from her personally. I've actually made judgment calls based on her knowledge. She's incredibly useful to me. She's incredibly insightful, and she's someone that we should all be watching and listening and learning from, because she shares her knowledge and she is not afraid to speak up. So we love her. Her social media is in the show notes, so you can link up there and follow her once you listen to this episode, because you're going to love it. Before we get into that, I just want to give a quick update on my personal life, which I know I do a lot less of lately, and a lot of it's tight-lipped for a few reasons, but also because it's been so hard. And not seeing my husband takes such a huge toll. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of our wedding, and I haven't seen him since our wedding day. And it's been hard. And we've been filing a lawsuit against the prison for doing this, because what they're doing is not okay. And they know it, and we know it. Everybody knows it. But, we have to resort to lawsuits to get anything done. And we were waiting on a reply from the judge for a motion to dismiss that the state issued against our complaint. And we received this week the answer we've been waiting for, that the judge is not dismissing it. And he's basically saying it needs to be reviewed. This is so validating on so many levels. And it doesn't mean we've won, but it's one step in the direction that we want to be in. And I think this is so important because it shows that you have to fight for what you think is right. And this is what Frankie did in her episode that we're about to listen to. So pray for me, pray for my husband that I'll get to see him soon. I pray every day. And I hope that this chapter is almost over and I will get to see him again real soon. And I'm so grateful to the family and friends that are so close to us and are helping us get through this, because saying it was easy is not even remotely close to the truth. And what my husband has gone through in this time, I don't know that many people would have been able to go through. So I'm so grateful for his strength. I'm so grateful for his family. I'm so blessed to have such wonderful family surrounding us to help us get through this. And with that, I'm going to let you listen to the episode. Oh, and one more thing. Don't forget to follow the show, hit the plus button, follow us on social media. The links are on the show notes. And don't forget to order your More Than Inmates Girlfriend gift catalog for your loved one who is incarcerated so they can order you gifts in the free world without your help. Wow. Isn't that nice? You can also find all the information in the link in the show notes. And that's it. I will let you get on with the show. Here's meeting Frankie, everyone. Take care. Frankie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So I know all about you, but for everyone who doesn't know about you, do you want to just introduce yourself?
So my name is Francesca. Everyone just calls me Frankie. My dad was a Port Authority police lieutenant and Hackensack, New Jersey paramedic who died September 11th at the World Trade Center in the North Tower when I was 13. And ever since then, I've been telling his story. I go on a lot of podcasts. I go on a lot of radio and TV shows here in the United States. And I use my notoriety, as humble as I could say that, to advocate for others without a voice. Mainly, it started with special education and disability rights, but it trickled into whistleblowing police corruption, which may seem ironic or weird since I'm a police officer's daughter, but my dad was 100% for police accountability. He ran the Port Authority Police Academy. He did not play games when it came to seeing cadets with abuse of power issues. He'd kick you right out. He did not want that on his force whatsoever.
Wow.
And I guess you could say that he passed the torch to me from heaven, and here I am making sure that the good cops have a voice and the bad cops get kicked off the force.
So you said you started with disability advocacy. Why did you start with disability?
So I'm a mom of 4, and I had my oldest in high school, and I didn't really have a voice. My oldest son is 18 now, and he's on autism spectrum disorder. So I had to be an advocate for my child, and then I saw the gap in the bridge of communication between parents with special needs children in the public schools and school districts, and I bridged that gap by sitting in IEP and 504 meetings, which basically, for those people that don't know what that means, is when a child has special needs, you get a special education plan where we sit down with the school district and the principal and speech pathologist, just depending on whatever your child's needs are, and we get them speech therapy, occupational therapy, extra time on tests, on-time tests, anything in between, sign language, total communication plans with visual or computers that help nonverbal kids talk that way. So that's what my career has been for 15 years.
Incredible. That must be so satisfying.
It is, but it's also extremely exhausting, which is why I actually left advocacy on a professional sector in November due to budget cuts. I'm sure people know what's going on with all the cuts in America happening, and unfortunately special education took one of the hardest blows. So even though the laws are on the books, the money isn't there, so there's really not much I could fight for. If there's no money to pay teachers, then there's nothing I could do as an advocate. So I ended up actually going into mechanics. Ironic, it's weird, right? Totally different career, but I still get to help people in my own way. So
I'm so sorry that happened. Thank you so much for giving us an overview. So now people kind of get who you are as a person. I love that you've done so much, and I think it's so fascinating and so cool. But obviously we're here to talk about you and your partner who is incarcerated. So do you want to talk to me a little bit about how you guys met?
Yeah, sure. So I want to clarify, we are not together as of now, and that's okay because I'm still going to fight for him no matter what. But me and my ex, funny, we met on Snapchat originally. The story is really funny because of my notoriety. I got a lot of friend requests. I get a lot of people that know me because I tattoo model too. And I thought I had 200 friend requests, and I was navigating Snapchat at the time. And it was quick add, meaning it was just a suggestion to add them. It wasn't the request. So I added like 200 people, and he was one of them. And we hit it off immediately as friends platonically, and it formed into something more later on. And that's how we met. Not the most romantic story, but it is funny.
It is. So what was it about him that was different than all the other 200 people that you added?
To be as humble as possible. Boy, me. I'm an Aries. He was a Sagittarius. Yes, I'm one of those zodiac astrology weirdo girls, and I believe in it 100%. And he was hilarious. Well, he is hilarious. He's still here on Earth. He's just not in my life right now. But he's a pisser. He's funny. He's charming. He's hilarious. He finds the good in almost everything, but he doesn't hold back. And I fell in love with his soul more than anything. It felt like home. It reminded me so much of what I used to be before I had so much trauma given to me. He was such a funny person.
That's so nice. I never thought about things like that, like how you connect on a level that's deeper and pre-trauma. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you were together for a year-ish before he was incarcerated?
Yeah, a year and some change, a year and a half-ish.
And it was distance. So how did you navigate that?
Yeah. It wasn't that hard with technology and stuff, you know. It wasn't too bad. And a good chunk of it, he ended up incarcerated. So a lot of the relationship we dealt with for 10 months in prison and in jail.
Wow. How did he get incarcerated? Can you share a little bit about that? Or
Yeah, sure. I'm going to be very meticulous with how I describe this while still being transparent, because there is an ongoing investigation against the department that arrested him, and I'll get into that later in the episode I Whistle Blew.
Yeah.
So my boyfriend was in Louisiana. He went to go pay a fine, a court fee, a fine for something, and they said that he had a warrant for his arrest, that they tried to serve him, which I found out they didn't, and they arrested him for something he did not do, and it has been proven that he didn't do it, and it was aggravated assault with a firearm.
Oh, wow.
He didn't even have a gun, and allegedly the person that pressed the charges against him was saying, "Oh, I made it up. He didn't do it. I didn't think it would go this far. Can you just drop the charges?" But the state of Louisiana already took over, and if you know Louisiana, you're cooked if you get arrested there. They have no respect for the Constitution, from my experience of navigating this for the last year, and they don't really give a flying shit about accountability either. So they sent him to the local jail. They didn't let him see a judge until March. He was incarcerated in January. That violates the Constitution, of due process.
Yeah.
And that's when I started setting shit off. Because how do you do that? And as an advocate, I hold up the Constitution all the time. The right to, have a proper education is also part of that, if you really read between the lines. And it's like, are you shitting me? And it all went down from there, all downhill from there. He's diabetic, and they weren't giving him his insulin. He went into DKA, which is a medical emergency. And every time I call up to the jail, they would be like, "It's always urgent. It's always urgent." They'd mock me. They'd talk mad shit to me. I had COs, I'll say alleged COs, because it's still under investigation, coming to my social media, calling me a slut and a disgrace, that I was dating a felon while my father was a cop. So I gathered what I could. Nobody would listen to me. So I worked the angle of, this is diabetes. This is protected under civil rights law, which I work with all the time as a special education advocate. And I reported the nurses and doctors to the Board of Medicine. They got fired and moved around. And now the DOJ is involved, the Department of Justice, because it's a civil rights violation.
Wow. That's a whole lot. Okay, first, did you ever work with the DOC before this, or was this like new territory for you?
This was new territory for me. And I got to say, it really popped the bubble. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I thought being a police officer was all wine and roses. And like, if a stranger tries to kidnap you, find a police officer. I never had the mentality that all cops were good. I never been a bootlicker.
Okay.
In that sense, I know there's corruption. I'm not blind. But I think this was a reality check for me as a cop's daughter that, holy shit, these people are nasty. And some of them shouldn't be on the force. I just didn't know how nasty they were until this situation, and it pissed me off.
So when did you find out that he was actually arrested?
My friend actually saw the police blotter and was like, isn't this your boyfriend? And he had called me, but I missed the call. Another hilarious story of my life. I live in Florida now, and I live in the Everglades area where it's all alligators and nature preserves. I was out in the Everglades feeding alligators prosciutto and pepperoni, and
You weren't.
out there being a Jersey girl,
Stop
feeding them
it.
good Italian food. I'm shitting you not. I still have the video of me going, oh my God, how beautiful is it? I get to write my reports for the IEP meetings out here today. And it's like I kept getting block calls, and I don't answer block calls. And the whole time I'm like giving these alligators the best life. My man is in the trenches. And then I finally got a phone call and a message from him weeks later. They were not letting him have the phone. They weren't letting him have a kiosk, nothing. And then I got a handwritten letter too from him, like, yo, I'm help. I'm locked up. Like, what are you doing?
What were you thinking this whole time?
Well, honestly, because of his bipolar, he would always have these up and downs of like, he needed space and things like that. It was never a breakup. It was just like, okay, a few days I don't hear from him, right? And I was panicked. I was worried. And the dark humor joke was like, ghosted her. Oh, no, he went to jail. Like,
oh, my gosh. And then he actually was.
And he was.
Wow. And did the mistreatment start right away?
From my knowledge, yeah. And everything he reported, it was horrible.
Immediately. And what about the way they treated you? Was it immediately bad?
It was passive-aggressive at first and very condescending. And then when they realized I knew the law and I knew his rights, and when I started gathering information, like when we'd have video calls, I'd record them, allegedly, because you're not supposed to.
Yeah. We all know about that.
I would start documenting, like, hey, he didn't look good today. He looked pale. He looked more disoriented than usual. And I have 3 notebooks full of journals of everything he'd tell me, everything I'd witnessed. And they started picking up on that and started cutting the camera on our video visits. So I couldn't see him, but I could still hear him. And then when I'd call up, like, hey, he didn't get his insulin, what is going on? They would start mocking me. Like, oh, the lawyer girlfriend's calling. Oh, the famous girl's calling. And it's like, are you serious? And I had to keep it together because if I was going to be his voice, I couldn't set it off. Trust and believe I wanted to curse these people out cold clean, but I couldn't because literally his life was on the line. Because I don't know if you guys know anything about DKA, but that shit could kill you. It shuts down your organs.
Okay, so what happens? So first of all, I'm sure people understand what diabetes is, but there is a requirement for access to insulin all the time, right? Because he might need it at any point.
Depending on the case. So if you have type 1 diabetes, which is childhood diabetes, and it stays with you until adulthood, most people need insulin. When you have type 2, you don't always need insulin. At jail and in prison, you really can't with the shit they feed you. And that's what was happening to him. He was supposed to have a dietary tray for diabetics, and that's federal law. That's not just local. Every state has to have that due to the American with Disabilities Act.
Okay.
And they weren't giving it to him. And so he had nothing but to eat shit and carbs, which turn into sugars and make you really sick when you're diabetic.
So
that's what made him go into DKA.
Okay. So what happens? What is DKA? Is it when you have too much sugar and not enough insulin and you're not given insulin?
For the record, I am not a nurse.
Yeah.
So everything I'm telling you is just my experience as an advocate and what I've learned.
Yeah.
So DKA basically it's a severe lack of insulin, right?
Okay.
It prevents your cells from using glucose for energy, and it forces your body to break down fat way too rapidly.
Okay.
So it creates like toxic acid
in your body.
And then it attacks your organs that way.
And so
it could shut down your kidneys. It could shut down your pancreas.
So it's a medical emergency.
Yeah. And they were letting his blood sugars go up to 400.
Oh, wow.
And anything above 250, that's considered high.
Right.
Now, 400 is a lethal level.
And did he ever get to emergency?
Eventually. So what had to happen was I proved that the jail was not giving him what he needed to do.
Okay.
And what he needed and what they were supposed to be doing. And my man was supposed to be a DOC, right? Meaning he was supposed to go to state prison.
Okay.
He wasn't supposed to be staying in that local jail. He was supposed to be transferred within a few weeks. They kept him there for 10 months, which is also another egregious violation of the Constitution that this jail has been sued for constantly. I looked it up. And finally, with them almost killing him, I reported the nurses and the doctors. They had no choice but to move him to state pen because in there, at least they had more, I guess, funding or whatever. I mean, it wasn't better. Trust and believe it wasn't better, but at least they had an infirmary. They had more regulation, I guess you could say, because when you're state prison, you're more regulated than a local county, or in Louisiana, they call it parishes. More regulations and more laws that I can push to be enforced on them.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
So when he got there, he ended up having emergency surgery because he ended up with like ulcers and I believe a tumor cyst situation in his organ. And he ended up having to have that removed.
Wow.
Hey, it's AJ from More Than an Inmate's Girlfriend podcast. Our new More Than an Inmate's gift catalog is out, and it's free for a limited time to send to your loved one. We know that just because someone is incarcerated doesn't mean they don't want to make their person feel special, but sometimes they don't have a way to do it. That's what this catalog is for. Visit morethananinmatesgirlfriend.com and enter the code JANDAJ. That's JAEANDAJ to send the catalog today. Because being incarcerated doesn't mean they stop wanting to show effort. Sometimes they just need help doing it.
And comparatively to all your advocacy work before in working with people with disabilities and their needs, how did you find the difference between dealing with disability claims and stuff like that versus dealing with medical issues in the Department of Corrections?
It's a day and night difference. For starters, people on the outside are treated like human beings. Inmates aren't. And I find that absolutely unexcusable and disgusting because at the end of the day, that's still a person. I don't have to agree with what someone does, right? Especially like I had to put my emotions aside, right? Because I ended up advocating for other people. And I don't like that there's people that actually did the crimes they did.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are a lot more people that were either over-punished or have harsh punishments that should have never been given to them. Or there's people that really didn't do it, but they were too poor and couldn't afford a good attorney, so they took a plea deal, right?
Yeah.
It happens all the time in America.
Yeah.
But for me, it was the lack of humanizing them.
Yeah.
And the fact that these COs and the nurses, especially the nurses, that pissed me off the most because it's like, you're not even in law enforcement. You're a nurse. You're supposed to be a caretaker. You're a healthcare worker. My mom was a nurse for 30 years as a trauma nurse.
Yeah.
So it's like, I even told my mother about this, and my mom helped me write the letters of how to go about it because she wasn't playing that shit either. She's like, that goes against your nursing, not necessarily the oath, because cops take an oath, nurses don't. They do like their nightingale, whatever, swearing. But there's still things that you're supposed to be unbiased.
Yeah.
And you pick your job as a nurse. You went into being a corrections nurse. You knew what you were doing. You knew you were going to deal with criminals or alleged criminals, and you're going to treat them like shit. Why? You shouldn't be a nurse at all.
Yeah. On an emotional level, it must have taken a really big toll because you have a history, so you're used to having to deal with difficult situation in advocacy. But then dealing with this, it must have been like a whole new experience emotionally.
Yeah. So when you're an advocate, you're not really supposed to advocate on a professional level for loved ones because it's hard to remove your emotions.
Yeah.
But I really was his only voice at that point. And I was the only one that actually knew the laws to navigate it. And if I'm going to be 100% real with myself and the audience, this whole situation fucked me up as equally as a 9/11.
Really?
I still have anxiety. I still have nightmares. I still have dreams like I'm being told he died, like getting that phone call because that was always my biggest worry. Like this definitely gave me trauma. This definitely gave me some type of level of PTSD.
Yeah. It's horrifying, hey? And it must be hard also, like I find people don't know. So there's like such a lack of humanity and treatment of humans within the DOC. And I know I've heard Louisiana is really bad, but it's just across the board and people don't realize what's happening. So it's like lonely
I
almost.
also think people don't care.
Yeah.
I think there's a huge stigma that when you arrested or locked up, it's, oh, well, don't do the crime if you want to pay the time. How about shut up and educate yourself? How corrupt this system is. Yeah. The system is broken. There is people serving life sentences over drug charges when, you know, a murderer is getting less, right? Yeah. And I'm not here to play God. I'm not here to play judge law, right? But if we had to pick apples and oranges, you know what I'm saying? A dime bag of weed should not equal 15 years in jail. It is so stupid to me. Yeah. And it's, unfortunately, people, the saying is ignorance is bliss, right? And people really have proven it. People have proven it. Yeah. Either they don't give enough of a shit, right? Or they really don't know and they are so, I don't want to say brainwashed, but they're so conditioned, especially here in America, that police are the good guys and the people in jail are the bad guys. And well, they wouldn't be cops if they were bad. Yeah. No, that just means they didn't get caught doing what they do. Yeah. Because I could tell you a lot of the felons that I met through this whole thing and the girlfriends and the wives and the moms, they are so much better people than the majority of the sheriff's department I had to deal with in Louisiana. And I will say that on record, and I don't care if it gets me canceled.
Also, depending on where you live, different state laws have differences. So someone in Louisiana gets charged will have a severely different sentence than someone in Washington getting the same charge. You know, and yeah, it drives me crazy. It really does.
Yep. But that's the catch-22 of the Constitution in that sense of we give the power to the states when it comes to local law. Yeah. So some states took it and ran with it, like Louisiana and Texas, and even here in Florida, it's wild, right? But in Jersey, where I'm originally from, there's bail reform now. Yeah. You don't go as hard on certain crimes than you would. There's no capital punishment, which is death penalty for people that don't know what that is. There's no death penalty in Jersey. Florida, they'll fry you like an egg. They don't care. Like, it's totally different. And that's only 1,000 miles away from each other, those states.
It's crazy. So you did have a few wins overall.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm still going.
Yeah. What are your wins so far that you've gotten?
My win so far is that the nurses got kicked the hell out of the facilities. They can't be nurses there anymore. And even though he's out, he's home, they can't do that to someone else. They can't do that to someone else, and that was my goal, right? My man was not going to be the sacrificial lamb, but I'm going to do what I can to make sure it don't happen to nobody else. The other game that I had was that the DOJ is really looking into this. They're not playing around. And the nursing board and the medical board came down really hard on the sheriff's department. You can't treat people like this. And I don't think they ever were held accountable in that fact because everyone thought, oh, just sue the police. And it's like, no. I'm going to go with the civil rights angle because this is disability law and the cops have no say over that investigation. They can't clean those records. They can't do nothing if they were allegedly doing that, right? Let me make that clear. I'm not going to accuse them of things without proof, but I'm saying, like, the cops have no say. If the state of board of nursing comes in and the state of board of doctors come in, the cops can't do shit about it. You got to prove what's going on. You got to show us your policy. If your policies go against what medical recommendations are, like not giving insulin until 350 is your sugar, that's astronomically too high, and it's going to kill someone. So that came down hard on them, to my knowledge. And the other great thing is, not to be corny, I met you, and I met so many other, I hate the term prison wife, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
I met the other prison wives. I met so many other advocacy groups, like the Loved Ones Coalition, Christine Amador. She does amazing work. The Reentry Project, D over there, and Aaron, they do federal prison, but they were able to help navigate me to other people. And that's actually how I found your guys' page, just like searching.
Yeah.
You guys came up in their same hashtags. So it helped me advocate in a way I didn't know, one, wow, and two, that I could be this seriously good at it.
And impactful.
Because the DOC and criminal law is so different. And it's actually something what's funny. I always told my mom, like, I never want to do criminal law. I never want to do prosecution. I never want to do defense attorney, nothing. And here the fuck I am now on TikTok. Did you know you could pull public records requests to find out if a dirty cop is working in your loved one's jail? I never thought I'd see the day, but here we are.
And there's a lot of people that have loved ones that are dealing with medical issues and struggling. You've succeeded and had a certain level of success. What would you say to them on how to go about it? Because I'm sure that some of the things you did didn't work and some of the things you did that did work. What would you say someone who's dealing with a loved one who has medical needs that are not being met? What do you think their route should be in hindsight? What would you have done straight from the get-go?
Build a paper trail and remove your emotions as best you can.
Okay.
Don't call up to that jail talking crazy to the COs, because it's going to look bad on you, and it's going to look like you can't be believed by certain organizations you need on your side. It sucks, but sometimes you just have to eat shit in order to get flowers, right?
Yeah. I'm still learning that.
Paper trail. Use civil rights law, because medical conditions like bipolar and diabetes and autism, lupus, congenital heart defects, a lot of things are covered under the Americans with Disabilities Act. And that's federal law. That will supersede any jail policy. And if it's medical, go above the COs and warden. Go to the medical board. If you have the nurse's name and the doctor's name and you have a paper trail of them rejecting care, report it to your state's board of nursing. Report it to your state's board of medicine, because they override that. And then when you have those requests for investigation to your board of medicine, you could take it to the DOJ for a civil rights violation. And then that'll open up more floodgates. It is a slow walk.
Okay.
That I will say, you have to be patient. And me, being from up north, I got no patience. You're like, let's go. I want this done 2 days ago, right? But it took 10 and a half months for the DOJ to even get back at me.
Wow.
I put in that request like February, March, I think it was March. I just got the letter January 6th or 7th.
So you sent out a letter to the DOJ detailing everything?
There's an online portal
Okay.
on the DOJ website where you could report it. You could snail mail it. I did that too, just to have all avenues covered. I did the online portal, printed out my report. I emailed the copy to the report to the DOJ. They have it on the website. And then I mailed it to Washington, D.C. too, with certified mail.
And then what are you hoping comes out of this?
I hope these people are held accountable so they don't end up killing someone else, you know, because there's inmates that have died.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I can. So when I whistle blew, my dark humor is going to come through with this, and I hope it makes people laugh and doesn't offend anyone. But when they were saying DKA and he wasn't feeling good, my joke was, I've gone without Dick for months, and I'll be damned if it doesn't work when he comes home. So I was being mad, Betty. I'm going to hold you accountable. What I didn't realize was when I did that, a whole floodgate opened up of discovering that the prison he was sent to, so not the parish jail,
Okay.
but the prison he was sent to, the COs are disaster. There's a lot of inmates passing away from drug overdoses. It's been discovered and alleged that the COs are the ones bringing in the drugs for the inmates. There's a whole shit show going on. Then I discovered that the parish that he was in is also being sued and held accountable for killing multiple inmates with a aggressive force, like truly beating the shit out of inmates to death.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, it's bad. Like excessive force stuff. And I just wanted insulin. I did not know it was this bad. Like I said, I didn't think everything was wine and roses as a cop's daughter. You know, I didn't think everyone was good, but I didn't know it was this violent and this bad.
Wow.
And then, oops-a-daisy, like it all opened up, and then more people started speaking out, and inmates that got out went to the news and connected with news reporters in Louisiana, and everything's going to shit for them. Not the inmates, the DOC and the local sheriff's departments. Because how do you answer for that?
Yeah. That's incredible. Who would have thought that you opened a can of worms?
Yeah, petty pays off, let me tell you.
Yeah. And you guys are no longer together.
No.
So what, do you want to speak a little bit on what happened there and why you're choosing to still fight for this, despite the fact that you guys aren't together? Because I love that.
Yeah, sure. So we're not together for a multitude of reasons. Mm-hmm. Some of it is infidelity that I found out about, and I was sent messages and letters that weren't supposed to be sent to me, but they were, and I still have them, so I'm not going to say allegedly. And then the other issue is I can't be with someone that doesn't want to do better, right? I see it. I love him. I still do to this day. If he called me in 10 years and said, Frankie, I need some, it's like, I can't stand you. What do you want? What do you need? I'll be there. I'll drag my feet and tell you you still ain't shit, but I'll still be there for you.
Yeah.
Because that's just, he was my best friend before anything. And at the end of the day, I love this man like a big girl loves a cheeseburger, you know? That was my everything right there. That was my guy.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's the right thing to do. I have an opportunity and a platform that a lot of people don't. I have a lot of notoriety because of my dad dying 9/11, and I have a voice that's listened to. Mm-hmm. So why should I stop? Mm-hmm. This is the right thing to do. Whether I ever talk to this man again or never cross paths with him again, I don't give a shit. It exposed so much more. This is beyond him at this point that it's going to help so many more families, you know, and I'll still keep going with the complaints and all my records that I have for him. And if he ends up wanting to allegedly sue the sheriff or the DOC, which he'd probably have a good case with everything that I have, especially with the DOJ involved. I'm here. I have all the paperwork. I have it. You say jump. I'm not going to say how high. I'm going to skip because you got enough for me. Here's your paperwork, and I'll navigate you to where you got to go. You know, at the end of the day, that's someone's son. That's someone's brother. That's someone's father. That's a human being. No matter what was done to me as a girlfriend on the outside and allegedly on the end, you know, that's still someone that breathes and walks around on earth. That's still a person. And no one should be treated the way he was treated. I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, and it's going to rattle cages, but at the end of the day, whether I agree with it or not, even if it's a cop killer, whether I agree with it or not, even though my emotions are there, they were mistreated. They have rights. Whether I like what they did or not, they still have rights. And that's not to be cherry picked. That's not a gray area. It's not like, oh, you have rights unless you did this or that. No, you have rights, period, end of story.
Yeah. We're supposed to be better. We're supposed to do better. Exactly. That's why we're not the cop killers and the whatever. That's why we are who we are. And I feel like people forget that sometimes, that we're supposed to do better than those people. And by doing better is to treat them better, right? To treat them as humans, despite what they've done. It's not our job to judge. But that's why I loved speaking to you about this, is because so many people in relationships, the relationships end or someone screws them over or whatever, and then all of a sudden they cut it, you know? And it's like, oh, like this person did this to me, screwed me over, I'm not going to help them anymore, they're dead to me, blah, blah, blah. But you have such a nice way of looking at it. Like, even though this person did me wrong, this is a bigger picture problem that I can help with. So I'm still going to keep going. And I love, love, love that about you, because a lot of people don't have that kind of insight to be able to look at it that way. And a lot of people would stop.
Yeah.
You look at it as, look how many people you've helped along the way as a result. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's shitty that it had to happen to him for all this to grow into what it's turned to be, but I would do it 8 lifetimes over.
Yeah.
Knowing that I'd be banned from certain 9/11 memorials, knowing that certain police departments don't want to work with me anymore. I don't give a shit, because what's wrong is wrong, what's right is right, and I'm not going to sit there and be quiet just because it makes other people uncomfortable. That's not how I was raised. That's not who my father was. And what daughter would I be if I didn't honor his legacy of helping people, even if I don't like you? Like I said, you're still a person. And I promised him I'm going to fight this to the end. And I'm a woman of my word. I'm not going to break my promise because you broke my heart.
When you say that you're not invited anymore, what happened with that?
So I'm not going to name the police departments because I'm still dealing with that. But being on TikTok and Instagram and having the voice I have, a lot of cops were like, we don't like that. You're talking down on cops. And I said, no, I am talking down on police corruption. And the fact that you guys don't compute that bad cops get good cops killed is beyond me. I've been told, like, I'm not welcome there because I made people uncomfortable for one dating a felon. Like, oh, God, please. Like, you didn't vote for one. Jesus Christ. Our president's got more felonies than my man ever did. Get that out of here.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, it's like, if you're going to assume who my father was based on a career, you're ignorant, because my father, he's dead now, so I could speak and no one could say anything. My dad was a Democrat. My dad was not like, thin blue line, back the blue, Republican mentality. My father would never vote MAGA. My father would absolutely never stand for what's going on in this country. So if you think because of me dating a felon is like where you draw the line, wait till you find out that my dad didn't vote for Bush. Jesus, you'd never have me back in the first place.
Right.
But they don't want me there because I've chose to, I guess, hang out with the felons. I chose, to be the voice for the misfits and the socially unaccepted people. And when you really look at it, as a disability advocate and a special education advocate, I've always been the voice for the misfits. You think the autistic kids are popular? No. I'm not going to shut up. I'm going to say what I got to say. And if you don't want me back, that's fine. I don't want you saying his name. Because if you can't see what's wrong is wrong, then you guys shouldn't have a badge either.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you look at it that way instead of other ways, or change your mind. But I'm assuming that's not what your dad would want.
No.
Can you talk a little bit more about him? Because I love hearing about him, the way you speak about him.
Yeah, sure. So my dad, ironically, was not a brave person. He really wasn't. He was like 6'2", and we had a 4 feet deep swimming pool in our backyard, and he still needed swimmies for them. He was terrified of the pool. He didn't want to drown. He was a very sarcastic, dark-humored person. She was wonder where I got it from. And he was going back to college to be a nurse. He really loved the medical aspect of first responding. He really wanted to hone in on paramedic stuff. And he loved the X-Files and the Simpsons and watching wrestling. And he loved Oreos and cranberry juice. Have it every year to honor him. He loved being a dad. There were 6 of us. And despite his crazy ass work schedule, he never missed any of my baseball or softball games. He never missed my brother's games. He never missed my sister's soccer. He was always at my stupid school plays because I always wanted to be a singer. That didn't work out because I can't sing for shit. He just loves being a dad. more than anything in the world. And he instilled in us, just be a good person, no matter who it pisses off. I'll never forget in 1996, there was a huge blizzard, aka the Blizzard of 96. Very crazy name, right? But when I was little, we had to go to the Port Authority bus terminal, which was in Manhattan. It was like a 35-minute ride without traffic. And so we had to go get his paycheck, and there was this homeless guy, and I recognized him every time I'd go with my dad to get his paycheck. My dad would give him a cigarette, they would shoot the shit, whatever. And the guy wouldn't go to a homeless shelter, and it was going to be really, really bad. Kind of like what the storm is now. That's pretty much what the storms were in 96 that day. And my dad arrested him, and I was like, why are you arresting this man? I was scared as a little girl. Like, I cried. I was like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And looking back, the man was arrested, but that meant he'd have to go inside. He'd have to sleep on a cot. He'd have to have a blanket and food and water and all the things that he didn't want to listen to do. So essentially, my dad saved his life by using handcuffs to bring him inside. And when my dad died, I don't want to cry.
Yeah.
When my dad died, there was people that he arrested that came to his funeral.
Yeah.
And I will never forget that. I was only 13 years old. And I just remember one guy came up to me, and he was like, you know, your dad, he was one of the good ones. I got my GED because of him. And I've been staying out of trouble. And all the cops, he is the one that didn't deserve it. Like, he shouldn't have been there, kind of thing. To hear the impact my father had on people he had to arrest, because you still had a job to do, you know. Like, you may not have wanted to, and you may have sympathized with their story of why they ended up on the path they ended up on. He still made an impact on them and still treated them like a person. And I think that's why I go so hard, especially seeing how mistreated incarcerated persons are treated. It's like, my father would never.
Yeah.
My father would never. So I can't imagine why other cops do. Why do cops treat so many people? Not all cops, right? But why do a good chunk of cops abuse that power? Why? That's still a person. There's psychology behind why people end up in the situations they end up on. And my dad never treated someone like shit on duty. He never did. Now, road rage is a whole different story, but if you were driving Route 3 in New Jersey to New York, you'd have road rage too. But arresting someone, he humanized them.
Yeah.
And I think being a paramedic too helped that too, because he knew the medical aspect of, like, okay, when someone's mentally ill or someone's under the influence of something or someone's special needs, he was able to decipher those things. And back in the 90s, cops didn't have training to decipher that stuff.
Yeah. What do you think he would say to you if he was here?
Bluntly, Jesus Christ, what did you do? I'm proud, but what the man? Like, you pissed off so many people. Oh my God, Francesca Marie, what did you do? But I think he'd be really, really proud, and he'd know that sometimes doing the right thing isn't the comfortable thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes doing the right thing isn't the thing that makes people feel good. And if I have to piss off people, on the way of doing the right thing, well, then be mad. I don't know what to tell you.
And what do you see? What's next for you, Francesca Marie?
I have no clue.
No?
I don't know. I'm still working on this. There's a couple of Louisiana spouses that I'm trying to help. I wrote a couple emails and letters on their behalf because their loved ones are going through situations with not getting medical care and teeth needing to be pulled and not being able to even get antibiotics. The other one is on medication they shouldn't be on, and it's causing medical issues.
Oh, gosh.
And then there's a girl in Ohio that reached out to me, too. And the violence with the COs is unbelievable. The video leaked, and her husband was beat the shit out of by Ohio corrections officers. And so I'm trying to make my calls and see what I could do to help her husband's situation the best I can. And I'm supposed to go up to Ohio and Louisiana to meet with a couple girls and help them with paperwork and things like that.
Wow.
And that's good for the now. For the bigger picture, I don't know. I don't know where this is going to take me, but I'm down for the ride. I'm down to help people the best I can. I can't guarantee results, but I could navigate you to the right people because there's always someone that knows someone.
Mm-hmm. So you see yourself continuing to help quote unquote prison wives and
on a voluntary basis, depending on my schedule, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And your TikToks are absolutely hilarious. So for anyone who wants to enjoy them, I think they're so fun. You definitely have a talent in that. Very jealous. I do not possess it. Can you share your social media?
My Real Housewives of Louisiana Prison episodes that got me through that were taken down. I've appealed them. I'm hoping my episodes get back up.
I forgot about those.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what kept me from having a mental breakdown when my boyfriend was going through hell on her. He's suffering a DKA, and I'm finding new wigs to try on.
So what are your socials?
So my Instagram is the Francesca DeVito, and it's a blue check mark. Mm-hmm. And then my TikTok, I changed my TikTok name a lot because the CEOs keep finding me. But right now it's Frankie McFrankster.
Frankie McFrankster.
You can find me through Francesca DeVito.
Francesca
And I don't
DeVito.
have Facebook.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you so much for your insights and your advocacy. I do love your story. I love following you. And
thank you.
I enjoy talking to you. And I'm actually really happy that we got to connect finally and speak.
Me too. And I'm happy we got to connect because we've had so many amazing conversations that we may not have always left the conversation agreeing on, but you gave me different insight that really helped me see things from a whole new lens that helped me go as hard as I did.
Mm-hmm. And I feel the same way because some of the things that you said made me think about it, but also I actually took some of your advice and did some stuff when Nick was getting some medical issues not taken care of. So yeah, it really helped. And your content made a big difference even for me, who Nick doesn't normally have medical. So I can't imagine the amount of people that you've helped. And exactly, I love our conversations because they've always been respectful and insightful, even though we're coming from different sides. So I love that.
That's how it should be.
Right?
We're allowed to disagree and have differences, but again, like, there's things you can learn from each other. And I wish more people had that mindset. Like, it's not an us versus them situation. We're all people at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. And we all come from different backgrounds with different experiences. So to be able to learn from you because you've had a completely different experience than I have is incredible to be able to do that in a respectful manner. And yeah, I agree. More people need to be doing that because that's how we grow. Anyways, well, thank you again. Thank you, Frankie. Take care.
Let me know if you guys need anything. Have a good one.
You too.